തിയേറ്ററിൽ കാണുക. ഓർമ്മ എന്ന് പറയും.
എത്തിയല്ലോ. സ്വീകരിക്കാൻ വരും. ഇത് മുന്നോട്ട് അങ്ങോട്ട് മൂവ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് അവൻ്റെ ഫോൺ അങ്ങോട്ട് നീങ്ങിട്ട് സുദേശ സുദേശ
On land, on land. ഗ്യാസും പിടിച്ചേക്കണം. Very nice.
നിങ്ങൾ ക്യാമറ അവിടെ കാണും.
I'd love to get. How far is it from the town?
From the town, French ambassador, he always gets
Yes, I'm the one who persuaded him to come to the Kerala.
so easier today.
I know.
So we visited this morning. So that's why we are just continuing our legacy. Now mostly we are doing Qatar Royal family. All handcrafts. There is no group, we go everything manual.
I remember seeing when they had there was a famous Voyager,
Yeah.
Centenary or the...
Yeah. Clone of Muscat.
That's
Oh, yeah.
You were involved in that?
Yeah. I was involved. King Shirandas.
Yes, I came to that and I saw that.
One good
Decade away from 150.
Yeah. It's all museum. All of it's hanging.
Good afternoon, everyone. On this auspicious occasion, we are privileged to have amongst us a luminary, a person blessed with words, and a statesman, Dr. Shashi Tharoor sir. We, the students of Prestige Public School, are deeply honored by his esteemed presence. Dr. Tharoor sir, a renowned author, a distinguished parliamentarian, and a celebrated orator, and an actor too, needs no introduction. His words have captivated audiences worldwide, weaving tales of history, culture, and politics with unparalleled eloquence. Today, as we stand on the threshold of knowledge and inspiration, we eagerly await the wisdom that Dr. Tharoor sir will share with us. Let's welcome him with a resounding applause. Now, I call upon Haya and Zahrin for the prayer.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله نور السماوات والأرض مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح المصباح في زجاجة الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية يكاد زيتها يضيء ولو لم تمسسه نار نور على نور يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس والله بكل شيء عليم.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Allah is the light of heavens and the earth. His light is like a niche in which there is a lamp. The lamp is in a crystal. The crystal is like a shining star. Lit from the oil of a blessed olive tree located neither to the east nor the west, whose oil would almost glue even without being touched by fire. Light upon light, Allah guides whoever He wills to His light. And Allah sets forth parables for humanity, for Allah has perfect knowledge of all times.
Next, I would like to call upon Fazan for the welcome address.
Good afternoon to one and all. Honorable MP Dr. Shashi Tharoor, our respected principal, teachers, and all my dear friends. It is my privilege and great honor to stand before you today to extend a warm welcome to someone who needs no introduction, Dr. Shashi Tharoor. Dr. Tharoor is a man of immense knowledge, eloquence, and public recognition. As a celebrated author, diplomat, and politician, he has influenced countless with his wisdom, wit, and vision for a better tomorrow. His contributions to literature, public service, and his efforts to represent India on a global stage are nothing short of remarkable. As we all should know, this very man is representing the Trivandrum constituency for the 4th time in a row. We are truly fortunate to have such a distinguished personality among us today, Sir, your presence has filled this gathering with immense excitement and anticipation. We are truly eager to hear your thoughts and insights. And now, on behalf of our Prestige Public School, Kozhikode, I extend our heartfelt gratitude for taking the time out of your busy day schedule to be with us. We are as we learn from your experiences and are inspired by your journey. Once again, we warmly welcome you. It is my pleasure to invite Hashim Sir to come forward and present a bouquet to our distinguished guest, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, as a gesture of our warm welcome and appreciation for his presence here today. We are honored to have here with us. And now we welcome Mr. Iqbal, who the driving force behind this prestigious moment. It is with his support and dedication that has made this gathering possible. With pleasure, I invite Mr. Asin Koya, Secretary of Prestige Public School, to warmly welcome Mr. Iqbal. Now, today we have the privilege of welcoming two of our esteemed guests from Kenya, Sadruddin Jiva and Fatima Jiva. We are deeply honored to have you two with us today and are grateful for the opportunity to share this everlasting memory together. I invite Honorable Principal of Prestige Public School, Mr. Niyas Charakara, to do the honor. Now, let us take a moment to acknowledge the incredible people who have played an integral role in shaping the success of this institution. First, Mr. Hashim, President of CMA. And next we welcome Mr. Asin Koya, PS, Secretary of CMA and Manager of the School Managing Committee. Next we welcome CP Kunyu Muhammad, Chairman of the School Managing Committee. Next we welcome Niyas Charakara, our esteemed Principal. And next we welcome Mr. Yunus Alur, President of the PTA. And next we welcome Ms. Khadija, President of the MPTA. Next we welcome Ms. Halima, President of the MPTA. And next we welcome Ms. Jayashree, our dedicated Senior Assistant. And next we welcome our ward councillor Kavita Arun. And of course, the members of the management, PTA, and our exceptional teachers. We welcome you all to this prestigious gathering.
Now, I would like to call upon our beloved Principal, Nia Sir, for the introductory address.
Good afternoon. Respected Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Mr. Muhammad Iqbal, our special guests from Kenya, members of management, PTA members, teachers, parents, other staff members, and all my dear students. May the Almighty bless us all. I would like to speak a few words about Prestige Public School. Prestige Public School is established in 1993. This is a project of Calicut Muslim Association founded in 1963. Our school is a senior secondary school affiliated to CBSE with around 1,000 students from LKG to class 12. Our vision is nurturing socially responsible global leaders through comprehensive education grounded in ethics, knowledge, and real-life skills. We started the academic year 2024-25 with a vision 2030. We have a clear vision on how Prestige should be in the year 2030. Based on Vision 2030, we have designed a comprehensive school development plan for the whole academic year. All the activities we do in the school this academic year is a means to reach our great vision. Our flagship programs include LEAP, the English Language Enhancement Program, under which we run a campaign namely Speak Sphere from January 20 to 28 February. Pinnacle, Elevate Through Education, is a long-term program to make sure our students enroll in national institutes and central universities. Prestige Personalized Learning Program aims at developing students with learning disabilities. We have 2 special educators exclusively for this program. Prestige Pilots are the group of leaders in the school. We plan to nurture leadership skills of our students and hope this group of students will be leaders in their lives. Love to Talk is a series of short speeches by students inside the classroom. Each day, one student speaks for a minute in front of the class on the topic of his or her interest. At Prestige, we believe in strong connection with parents. We have a strong parent-teacher association here. They are always a call away to render any type of help. We have a system of sunshine call. The class teachers call the parents regularly only to build a relationship. Parent-teacher meetings held before the exams give insight to parents about the performance of the students and children. The education we provide always has the flavor of value added to it. One of the USPs of Prestige is its excellence in sports. We have a strong and dedicated team of physical education. We participate in several competitions and win prizes. Recently, we hosted National Sub-Junior Throwball Championship, where the students from 14 states participated. 6 students in Kerala team were our students. We are the champions of Kozhikode District Mini Athletic Meet and the first runner-up of the Kids Meet. Our management and PTA always encourage both the teachers and students when it comes for sports. I feel blessed to get a chance to meet Dr. Tharoor in person. My love and admiration towards him hiked when I read his book for the first time in 2008, The Riot, a beautiful novel in Indian context. You may know Dr. Tharoor as a person he is now. I'm not sure how many of us know about the fact that he had only one-time meal while he was a student at Fletcher's University. His love towards our nation is really noteworthy. Being a child who was born in the UK, he was eligible for a British passport, but he decided not to opt for that and stick to be an Indian. We salute you, sir. The whole family of Prestige is honored to have such an eminent leader amongst us, to visit our school and to interact with our students. Ladies and gentlemen, with your permission, I would like to take the privilege of inviting Dr. Shashi Tharoor to address us in this blessed afternoon.
We'll have an interaction. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Good. Good to see some life from the audience. I must say I'm impressed because by now you must be feeling the impact of the whole day of classes, so it's good that you still have some energy. I'm just going to speak to you very briefly, and then the plan is that we would actually have an opportunity to have an interaction with each other, whatever questions and comments you have, and I'll be trying my very best to respond. I was supposed to leave by 4 o'clock for another function because we thought we would start immediately at 3, but the preliminaries took a bit longer. I don't know if we can stretch it for a few minutes, but we'll try and do our best to address as many questions as possible. I just want to say to all of you, I'm not going to give you a speech. Very simply, what's important, I think, about school days is to remember 2 or 3 things. Number one, this is the place where you grow up. This is where you're spending more time than you're even spending with your parents. And so, when you're in school, you're learning a lot of very important things about how to interact with your classmates, how to interact with your seniors and with your juniors. How do you behave with smaller kids? How do you behave with older kids? How do you relate to your teachers? What kind of equation of respect can you establish with them where you also feel free to ask them the questions to which you feel the classroom hasn't given you enough answers? So it's very important to remember that school is hugely important, not only because of the textbooks and the classrooms and the examinations, but what you become as a person, as a human being, through the process you're going through your school. I know that all of you have parents who want you to do very well in school, come first in everything, get the best marks possible. And let's face it, we all want that. None of us wants to start out in life failing at anything. But remember, however important that is, that it's only a part of what you are doing in school. Not just because you're growing up. When you emerge from school, I think the school also wants you to emerge not just as a good student, but as a good human being. And that's why it's so important that in the school, there's so many other programs, whether it's leadership development, whether it's your English extra classes that you're being given, whether it's your opportunity to speak out and debate and exchange ideas with each other, all of these will make you a better equipped and prepared citizen for our society. And that's also extremely important. The third thing I want to say is more for your teachers than for you. And that is something I say to every teacher's audience I address. Is there a problem with the sound? The sound system is echoing a lot, right? Are we okay? Can you hear me, kids? You can understand what I'm saying? Okay. So the message to your teachers very simply is this. Please understand that while exams are important and while preparing the kids for the skills they need to do well in exams is also important, it is not enough in the world that they are going to emerge into when they leave school. Why do I say that? There are many reasons, but the most important thing may well be that part of the problem with our approach to education, I've been saying this since I was Minister for Education, so I speak with some authority. The problem with that is that it unfortunately tests the wrong skills. It requires you to have a very good memory, and a very good memory is a good thing to have. But if that's all that you've been training, if you remember your formulae, you remember your dates, you've mugged up all your scientific tests, you've mugged up all the historical information, whatever it is you're studying, your accounts, your logarithms, you've mugged them all up. The fact is that that skill may help you pass an examination when you repeat it in the examination hall, but it's not necessary in a world in which anything you've forgotten can be found with 2 clicks of a mouse or 1 glance at your mobile phone. That's the world into which you will graduate when you leave the school. In the exam, you're not allowed to look at your mobile phone, you're not allowed to click the mouse. But testing that tests you on something which you actually will not need as an adult. But what will you need as an adult? This is why I tell teachers, don't teach the children what to think. Teach them how to think. That is the skill they really need. In one of my speeches, which I know has done very well on YouTube, so some of you may have seen it already, I've said that we need, in the 21st century, not well-filled minds, but well-formed minds. What's a well-formed mind? A well-formed mind is one which may be confronted with an unfamiliar problem, an issue which has not been taught to them in school or found in their textbook, but will still understand how to approach it, why it is similar to other problems, why it is different, and will be able to find a viable way of understanding it and perhaps even resolving whatever problem is put forward by this unfamiliar information. So that's the third important message for all of you. The fourth important message is both to you and to your teachers. And that message is very simple. Try and be creative. I know the Prestige School values creativity in its students. What do I mean by that? I think when Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were asked what they looked for in the people they wanted to hire, they both said, we value out-of-the-box thinking. What is out-of-the-box thinking? It is going beyond the conventional wisdom. What is conventional wisdom? It's the way things have always been. It's what's written in your textbook. If you ask your teacher and she says, this is the way it is, that's conventional wisdom. Now, this is the way it is true of many things in the world. Because of the way the earth is revolving around the sun will always rise in the east and always set in the west. So you can ask, why should it be that way? The teacher may be forgiven for saying it just is. You simply learn that fact because that's not going to change. But there are many things in the world that do change. And that's why if I were a teacher, I would encourage the students not only to ask why, but also to ask why not. There's an example I often give students, especially of your age, about out-of-the-box thinking. And that's very simple. It comes from my own experience. which is that I need glasses, but I need glasses barely 5% of the day. I need glasses for distance. I don't need glasses to read the names of the people in the program here. I don't need glasses to see or recognize the people I've met in the front. But for distance, I need it. So I only wear glasses, for a few minutes every day. And in the old days, what used to happen is that I would put the glasses in a pocket, bang into a wall, they would break, or I would leave them on a table, forget them, and go somewhere, and I would lose them. Or in the days when I used to wear a munda more often, there's no pockets in a munda, so I would leave them on my lap. I would get up to greet a lady or someone else. The glasses would fall on the floor, somebody would step on them, and they'd break. So one year, I can even tell you it was 2013, in the first 3 months of the year, I either broke or lost 6 pairs of glasses. And I was complaining about this to a friend. He said, what's the problem? I said, very simply, the problem is, for 150 years, the way glasses have been invented and made and so on, they sit on your nose and they hang over your neck. And I find both very uncomfortable. And so I don't want to leave them there. The 95% of the time, I don't need them. So this is why all this happens. He said, that's interesting. Let me see if I can find a solution. And he went off and did some out-of-the-box thinking. And a few weeks later, he came with this, what I'm wearing around my neck. Now, what is that? He, or the company that he knew, reimagined how glasses can be made. All the other people sitting in the front row have 6, 7 people with glasses. They all have glasses that sit on the nose and hang on their ears. I don't like that. So I wanted glasses that didn't do that, and they came up with glasses that hang around my neck. I don't have to put them in a pocket. I don't have to leave them on a table. I don't have to forget them because they're always there. And when I need to use them, that small 5% of the time, let's say somebody at the back looks vaguely familiar, I want to see who it is. There are 2 magnets in the middle. They click together. I can say hello, and then I can go back to being my normal self. Now, why do I give this example? It's not a Nobel Prize winning invention. It's not that out of the box, but it's an important example of saying anything can be reimagined. My generation and the generation of all the people sitting in the front, we only knew the motor car as running on petrol or diesel. Fuel was required. If the student asked the teacher, why does the car need petrol or diesel? The teacher would say, because the motor, the engine, has to be powered by fuel as a source of energy, and that comes from this because it is combustible. So there's an internal combustion engine in the car. It combusts the fuel. It powers the engine. That's how the car moves, right? You all know that from your basic science classes. But some student one day would have said to a teacher, but why does it have to be fuel? Why does it have to be petrol? Can't it be something else? And if the teacher said, don't be stupid, don't ask silly questions, and push the kid aside, the teacher would have done him a disservice. Because as you know, as people became more conscious of global warming, people began to think, can we find other kinds of fuel to power a car? And now we have electric cars. We have buses in the national capital, Delhi, running on compressed natural gas. We're finding different ways of powering the same engine so that we can move. Why does a car need a driver? Somebody else may say. And now there are people inventing driverless cars that are programmed by computer that can see, quote unquote, around them through a lot of cameras on the front and side and back, and that can drive people pretty safely without a single driver behind the wheel. Now, all of these changes are examples of out-of-the-box thinking. If you had done thinking only within the box, then you would have said, well, a car has to have a steering wheel and a driver, or you would have had to say that glasses have to sit on the nose, or all of these things. So my simple thing to you all of is think creatively, think originally, and to the teachers, please encourage that. I noticed that in Prestige, you encourage kids to speak out. Do that in the classroom. Don't let communication in the classroom be a one-way affair. Let them speak. challenge them, question them, set them assignments to look up things you haven't taught them and come and explain it to the classroom. And if they're wrong, you can correct them. But if they are right, or they make you, the teacher, think, then you know that you've actually had a good effect on your children. Now I'm going to stop there because that was the 10 minutes I was asked to speak, almost exactly. But I will stop by just saying one last thing. Remember that ultimately what we're all in the game of is life. And life is a much bigger examination than the one that faces you at the end of school. So if things go well in the examinations because you worked hard and you're good at taking exams, congratulations. If they don't go well, don't be disheartened. Pick yourself up and be determined to do better. Because every one of you has some talent, some ability. Not everyone is going to win the 100-meter race. Not everyone is going to come first in maths. Not everyone is going to be the best singer in the class. But somebody might just have a talent for making other people feel good. Might be the kind of person who knows how to crack a joke at the right time and cheer people up. Might be just the right girl to offer a shoulder to a classmate who has gone through a serious problem or a tragedy at home and needs a friend to lean on and needs company, consolation. Those are also talents. Human beings have not been made by God to be without talent. Everybody has some capacity. All you need to do is to know yourself. Find out who you are, what you're good at, what you're not good at. Sometimes you don't really know that except by trying. Try. If you feel you might be able to sing, go off and try and sing on a stage and see how people react to you. If you think you're a good speaker, go off and participate in a debate or a speech contest. There is no shame in failing. Because just like the waves, they go up and they down. You may fall, but you just pick yourself up and go up again. That's what ultimately life is all about. And that big exam called life is waiting for you. It will value you above all as a good human being, a good citizen of our homeland, and somebody well prepared to think for yourself in the future. All the very best to you, my dear kids. Jai Hind. Okay, so I see that we have an interaction with students. Is somebody going to conduct the interaction, or have you already decided who's going to ask the questions, or will they just raise their hands?
Sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
tell me which class you're in and so on, and go ahead and speak.
Sir, my name is Marcel. I'm from +1. Mm-hmm. And this is rather a simple question I just want to know from you. I recently saw an interview of you where you coined the term wet for the Malayalam word etramate.
Yes.
So when I first heard this...
So you've been on WhatsApp very recently, I can see.
So when I first heard this, I was a bit perplexed, because it was new. And it got me wondering, how did you manage to mix, to merge your creativity with your vocabulary exactly?
No, look, I guess I was lucky in that I got away with a lot as a child simply because I was good at taking exams. I was that irritating kid who came first in everything. But my father, fortunately, was not one who was ever content with my curling up in a corner with a book. He insisted that I come out, that I speak to people. He forced me to get into school, elocution contests, debates, even drama, and I became a student actor. I did all of these things because my father felt that in life, those skills were as important as coming first in class. And I must say he was right, because ultimately, having that spark that enables you to relate to other people, to talk to other people, to be creative and original, and not to be stifled when you're doing all of that, that's very important. And so I was writing and publishing articles when I was 10 years old. I was getting encouragement from my father to do that. And so the result is that I felt there was no limit on how far I could go except the limits that I could recognize for myself. I know I'm not going to win the 100-meter dash. Maybe 100 meters I mightn't have done too badly, but anything beyond, I wouldn't have had the stamina to manage it. Everyone should discover what their skills are. But the important thing is that these skills, the skill to speak, to enjoy language, to appreciate history. Those were the skills that I felt early on were my special talents, and I enjoyed them, so I developed them. And that's something else I should have said. Try as far as possible to figure out what you enjoy and be good at that, because at the end of the day, you will look forward to waking up in the morning to do whatever job it is or whatever, if it's something you enjoy. Life, unfortunately, only comes once for each of us. So we have to make the best of ourselves with that one life we've got. Let's not spend most of it doing things we hate doing only because we need a salary, or doing things that we are bad at doing only because nothing else is available. Try and develop strengths. Look at the world around you. I know that a lot of you kids are probably studying to be computer software people, because that's the fashionable thing to do at this time. Fair enough. If you have a skill for it, talent for it, great. But if you're doing it and you're hopeless at maths and you're hopeless at understanding how computers work, and you know you'll never understand how software works and so on, don't do it. Find something else. You might be very, very good at something else. Anyway, to answer your question, I just felt that etramte was such a useful word in Malayalam, because in English, it's always, suppose I were to ask you, suppose Iqbal had told me, my daughter is sitting in the audience. I would have to ask him, in which row is she, which position is she sitting in, what color is she wearing, whatever, right? Find out. Similarly, if you're going to go rent a car in America today, you'll find there are 20 rows of cars. Each one has about 20, 25 cars. You'll have to ask which row, which number, position, what color, what make, before you can get your car. A Malayali has a very easy thing to do. You can just go and say, Etramta Vandiyana. Right? So I thought the Malayalis have a thing there that the English could learn from. So I said, why can't English come up with a word like wet? Where, when, what, why, which? So another W word, just to answer that question, what number position in an ordinal list is a particular object? That's the idea.
Thanks, sir.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing today?
Hi.
My name is Ahyan, and I'll be graduating from my 11th standard in a month. So do you agree with me the fact that education is made available to mostly everyone around the world right now as of the 21st century?
Sorry, I didn't quite hear you clearly. Just maybe move away from the speaker and just come a little closer. Yeah. So do I agree with you that education is, and then I lost you?
Yeah, education is available to everyone around the world right now as of the 21st century.
That education is what for the 21st century around the world? There's one crucial word I'm missing.
Available to everyone around the world.
Yeah, education is available to everyone, increasingly so. And I think it's extremely important that people be educated. In India, when the British left us in 1947, only 16% of our population was even literate, forget educated. With women, it was 8.8%. So you put 12 women in a room in India, only one of the 12 will be able to read and write. That's how bad things were under British colonialism. Today, we've gone a long way since then. We're still not where we want to be in other states in India, but in Kerala, we can truly boast of full literacy for both men and women, both boys and girls. And I think that's extremely important. People who are educated simply do better in life. They understand things better. An educated mother raises healthier, better children. An educated worker, even in a farm, will do a better, more productive job as a farmer. An educated employee, of course, in any domain, is an asset to an employer. So education is vital for everyone, and it's true around the world. In India, we have been a little behind, but we need to get there. No country truly becomes a prosperous, developed country without its population being fully educated, and we have to get there.
Right. So my question is, it's observed that, Western countries are getting higher opportunities in prominent organizations like the UN and the WHO, or global enterprise industries and so on. But concurrently, Satyanadela like that. So do you think that it's an efficiency fault of our education system, or do you think that the Western countries' education system is more effective or attractive? What do you have to say on that?
Okay, it's come back. So, there's no doubt that, in fact, as far as Western education is concerned, they moved ahead faster than we did. We were still stuck in some of the old-fashioned methods of education, and arguably we probably still are behind where many of the Western countries are. Not across the board. I mean, the IITs were world-class. They were set up with Western help. The IIMs, the Indian School of Business, a number of institutions in our country which are on a par with the best in the world. But there are also a lot of institutions that are not so. And that becomes a real problem because a lot of our graduates are unfortunately finding themselves floundering with a few islands of excellence in a sea of mediocrity. And that can be a real problem. Now, when you talk about the UN and WHO and so on, no, that's not because of education system as such. They have, the UN, for example, has a national quota, which reflects a number of factors: your population, your per capita contribution to the GDP, your contribution to the UN in terms of donations and money. All of that will determine how many positions are available to your nationals. So the WHO, UN, ILO, these are all UN agencies, and they follow such a formula. They felt that was the only way to be fair to the various countries that they are their members. But in the private sector, it's purely merit. What they're looking for is ability, hard work, skill, the kinds of things that you know that Indians are capable of, whatever the deficiencies of our overall education system. And many have done very well. Satya Nadella came out of Hyderabad Public School. Very good school in Hyderabad, but it's not as famous as some of the schools in Delhi or Doon School or whatever, but they're still, it's a good school, and he's risen from there and gone. Mr. Narayana Murthy created Infosys. He didn't, as far as I know, go to the IITs. He went to a small regional engineering college. So even though your institution may not be the best, if you're smart, you work hard, you put in the hours, you make the effort, you can reach positions of great merit around the world, particularly in the private sector. So I wouldn't worry about that. Nonetheless, in India, the challenge is a bit different. Our economy hasn't grown fast enough and in a big enough way for us to be able to give enough job opportunities for everybody who wants them. That's the problem, not the issue that you raised. I think that's working all right.
Right, we see that many people are migrating from India for pursuing higher education.
And they're doing well, and they're doing very well.
Right. So another question that...
No, I think that's unfair too, because there must be somebody else, and my staff is already itching about the time.
Yeah, sure.
Is there a young lady who wants to ask a question? I would love to hear from a girl. Yes, okay.
Sir, I'm Ritika, studying in 11th. So my question is, what is your vision for a pragmatic education system for our country in the light of booming technology and also the growing unemployment among the educated youth?
Well, that follows up exactly from what I was saying to the previous question. The fact is that we do have a real unemployment problem. So there are more people applying for every job than there are jobs available. And for that reason, many of our Indians are also going abroad. Many also feel the opportunities are better abroad, and we need to change that. Number one, we can teach technology as well. It's not that there's any impossibility for us. In fact, in the 1990s, we led the IT revolution by training far more Indians in things like software writing and coding and so on than any country in the world was doing. And that's why these young Indians were in a position to come in and compete immediately. Thank you. With the rest of the world, and when the so-called Y2K crisis arose, when everyone was afraid that computers around the world would crash when they went from 2 digits to 00, that's the time when our young people came up and wrote all the software and saved all the computer systems around the world. So we can do it. Today, we should be very, very quickly moving towards teaching technology, AI, machine learning. I was very impressed that I got my flower today from the school from a robot. That's great. Learn that from here. learn that from here, and I encourage the school to go on further. I think there are now schools in India which are planning to teach AI from the first standard, the first grade. That's amazing, but that's the way to go. Because by the time that child comes out of class 11, that's the system they're going to be very, very confident about dealing with. Only some of them will be working in AI, but the rest will know how to use AI. So I think we should head in that direction very rapidly, make the adjustments required, change our approaches. Just 2 years ago, I remember answering a similar question and saying, I'm very disappointed that there's only one place today that's teaching AI, and that's IIT Madras offering a correspondence course in AI. That's no longer the case. Everybody, every institution is leaping on this bandwagon, and I hope Prestige will soon be teaching AI too, at least for the higher classes.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So my question is, beyond from politics and writing, what's a lesser-known hobby or passion that brings you joy?
What's my passion?
Yes.
Well, look, the time for other passions, unfortunately, is severely limited because politics is a 24/7 job. It's all-consuming, and whatever I'm doing, politics can always intrude, and particularly when you're an elected MP in the Lok Sabha, rather than in the upper house, the Rajya Sabha, you have constant demands from voters all the time, and you're supposed to respond to them. But having said that, I do have a few passions for which currently I don't have enough time. I love reading. Reading gives me great pleasure. I love reading books. I love reading different people's experiences, both fiction and non-fiction. I love cricket. I enjoyed several sports as a child watching. And I used to love playing cricket, but as a small child I was asthmatic, and I didn't grow because of my asthma as rapidly as my friends did. So I was class captain in class 3, vice captain in class 4, and in the reserves by class 5. That's inevitably what happened. The kids are all growing, they're becoming bigger and stronger and fitter, and I was unfortunately the weak little runt. So I became a commentator and an observer and a fan instead. But I can tell you that when I look at the way in which cricket is evolving, it gives me great pleasure. Nothing stays static. The cricket I watched in the early 60s is so different now. There was no ODI, there were no T20s. Today all these are available. Television. I mean, in the old days we would see these grainy films division documentaries which were hopeless. You couldn't really appreciate what was going on the match. Today the TV cameras are so much more sophisticated. There is HD or high definition. It's almost better than being at the ground to see the matches. So even though I don't have the time to watch the matches, I try and record some matches, at least the highlights, so I can watch the highlights myself whenever I can find the time. So I would include those as passions. I used to be very passionate about the theatre, both acting and watching the theatre. And I remember going to London and seeing a lot of plays and so on. But eventually that has also died out. There isn't that much good theatre to spend the time to go and see in India. And of course, politics is what it is. But I think if I were a good, quiet, peaceful, retired gentleman, then I would certainly end up doing 3 things that I don't have enough time for today. Read more, watch a lot more cricket, and of course, see the theatre whenever I can. But all of you find what interests you and try and make some room, some time for it in your life. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Last question. So whoever is next in line gets the last question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My name is Vijay. I'm from class 12.
Right.
Unlike other questions, this is a purely political question.
Okay.
Yeah. I've known that you have been in UN as under. I forgot your post. Sorry.
Under Secretary General. Yeah.
Yeah, Under Secretary. United Nations is promoting democracy and equality among nations, but among UN we can see that there is no democracy because of these 5 main nations which have veto power. So what is your opinion about this contradiction, and how do you think India can do something against this, or by building a new international alliance among all nations without any veto power. Is it possible?
I don't think it's possible. I'll tell you why. Why did the veto power get established in the first place? It's because with the hope that they would be able to maintain world peace and there would never be war again. But it failed because some of the most powerful countries in the world at that time either did not join the League of Nations, like the US, or left later when they found it was not acting in consonance with their wishes. Italy was a powerful country, Germany, Russia, they all left the League of Nations. So when the Second World War happened, the world again was collapsed in destruction and suffering and tragedy. The leaders of the world said, how do we build a new world organization that will not fail the way the League of Nations failed? And one answer, not the only answer, but the most important answer they came up with was, we need to give the most powerful nations a reason to stay, that they would never leave the organization. And the reason they came up with was, let us give these 5 most powerful countries in the world such power that they know the organization will never act against their interests. And that's what the veto does. The veto ensures that the UN cannot act against the wishes of the 5 big powers of 1945. Now the problem is these 5 big powers of 1945 are not the big powers of 2025. 80 years later, the world is very different. Yes, China has become more powerful, but Russia has become less. And Britain and France are no longer globe-straddling empires. They're small countries in Western Europe. So the question comes up, why isn't India there, right? Why isn't Japan there? Well, India was a colony. Japan was a defeated power in the Second World War. So these questions that come up suggest that we do need to redesign the UN. Maybe if we abolish the veto, we'll be making a mistake, because then we will lose a country like the US to say, we don't have a veto, we're not saying goodbye, and they're the largest country, the most powerful country, the richest country. Can we afford to do without them? We can't. So for this reason, I think we do need to preserve the veto. You're right, there is a contradiction in democracy, but democracies are full of contradictions, right? There are political parties in our country which fight for democracy all the time, which fight democratic elections, but internally they're not democratic because they're led by very small numbers of people. And that often happens inside democracies, not just ours, but many other countries. So we have to understand that we are not a perfect democracy, the UN is not a perfect democracy, but the values it fights for in trying to work for a better world, those are values that well worth preserving. Okay? Good luck to you. Sorry I can't take more questions. We started a bit late, I think. But thank you all very much. I'll try and come back another time, but have a very good day, all of you, and a good year. Good luck to Prestige.
It is with great honor that I now invite our school head boy to present a token of appreciation to our esteemed guest, Mr. Shashi Tharoor. We are truly grateful to Mr. Tharoor for taking time out of his incredibly busy schedule as an MP to be with us today. His presence here speaks volumes of his generosity. We are privileged to have him among us.
I'm so glad he's not a robot, aren't you?
Hashim President CMA is presenting a token of love. Here, we are honored to have our talented art teacher, Jizana ma'am, to present a specially created drawing of our distinguished guest, Shashi Tharoor. This artwork is a heartfelt tribute from our side. Let us all appreciate this wonderful gesture.
Attention, on this special occasion, we would like to invite our entire staff to come forward and join us for a group photograph with the esteemed guest, Dr. Shashi Tharoor. Let's make this moment memorable together. Kindly assemble at the designated area for the photo session. Thank you.